Don't vape, kids. I have been trying to figure out for the better part of a week what to say about this stupid thing. It honestly feels like we've gotten KUP figures for years, when we've only gotten 4 different versions of the character in the last 5 years. But it feels like we've had so much more since 2016. KUP stands the exact same height as Blur and Hot Rod and a couple of the others. And what I mean is he's around the same size as other Deluxe class figures in the Studio Series 1986 line, of which I've reviewed Blur. Anyway, the robot mode is fine. He's got a nice butt port right there, so he could go on a figure stand. He's got okay articulation. He comes with an Energon goodie dispenser and a gun that is modeled off of his original Generation 1 toy. Though he's got some issues. Like Blur, his face is absolutely terrible. The head sculpt's good, but the face is ugly and looks like he's in a constant state of constipation. The figure does sport some absolutely fantastic light piping, thankfully, but the proportions of the figure just feel wrong. His shoulders are sagged down into the middle of his chest. His fists are molded plastic attached to the rest of the forearm. The shoulder, when I go to move it, unpegs. The knees are ratcheted, but the ratchets don't start at the very beginning of the straight part. It bends a little bit and then they click into place. But the one leg is much better than the other leg, which that first click feels like it's been sanded down and it doesn't actually catch until you've gone about 35 degrees. And the figure has no heels, so he has a tendency to fall over far too easily. I didn't plan that. I really didn't. And let's all be honest, it's super lame to be remembered for being ripped apart by a giant metal kraken. I mean, come on. Yeah, you could put him back together, but... Well, don't forget that burr in his rotator. Now, the designers of this figure are kind of sick in the head. I really do believe that, because KUP has the ability to... become... Well, you could rip off all his limbs. Yes, you could rip off all his limbs, and then you can have some real fun with him and turn him into all sorts of horrifying monsters and creatures, and honestly, that's the best part of this figure, is the fact that you could rip his arms and legs off and just do fun, terrible, horrible things to him. Yeah, I kind of love this figure simply for that. Posability for KUP is okay. Head can't look down at all, can look up a little bit. It is on a ball joint, but that chin prevents him from looking down. Shoulders are on hinges and swivels. There is a swivel at the upper bicep, bend at the elbow, goes over 90 degrees, no fist articulation. Torso articulation that is very tight. Hips are a swivel on the inside and then a pin hinge. Then the thigh swivel, which can come apart. And then the ratcheting knees, which don't work all that well. And finally, the feet can bend about 20 degrees-ish. And no forward and back. Man, I'm just angry about the fact that he doesn't have heels. If he just had, like, a little thing that could flip out or flip down, that would be infinitely better. Other than the giant siege ports on the bottom of his feet, there's nothing else. He doesn't have any other compatibility with the Siege or Earthrise lines at all, which is a shame. I would have liked to have had, something molded, maybe on the bottom of his forearms or something. That also means that there's nowhere for you to peg his Energon goodie dispenser into, to store it, nor can you put his gun anywhere, really. You would expect that this little tiny tab hole down here would be able to peg his gun into and, have a gun taint. But, nope. Peg's too big, hole's too small. With the transformation complete, we end up with what is probably the best rendition of KUP's Cybertronian alt mode that we've ever gotten. The strange and, dare I say, incredibly stupid pickup truck that KUP transforms into is represented very well here. I just am a little bit bummed with the colors. They are all super muted and rather boring. And, what can I do about it? Not much. I'm wondering if Repro Labels is going to be making any new stickers for this guy, because that would be very cool. I would like to see that. I can't argue with the authenticity. Or, no, that's not correct. I can't argue with the way it looks. It looks really good and feels very accurate to that original, or what I always thought KUP would look like in alt mode, though the truck bed is really kind of short. Maybe it's a pup truck? I don't know. Weapons can be mounted on this mode. On the sides, there are little indents, or I should say accessories. So the gun can mount there, and then the Energon goodie dispenser can mount over here, either like that, or turn it around, and he can launch Energon goodies out the back. Overall, I am rather happy with the alt mode, even if it does feel a little bit on the tiny side. But it can do with no problems. Overall, Studio Series Deluxe Class KUP is fine-ish. The fact that you can remove his limbs and then attach all these other kibbles and bits from different Battle Masters? Yes. And fossilizers is a fantastic addition that I don't think Hasbro really knew what they were getting themselves into when they did that. Otherwise, other than that, unless you're a G1 diehard, I would actually kind of skip this figure, because it's not that great. It's only just okay. But, that being said, I am really interested to see what Hasbro's going to repaint this guy as. I can easily see this figure coming out as an Orion Pax repaint again. So folks, let me know what you think of the figure down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I'll catch you next time.